Good evening. Welcome to the regular organizational meeting of the Board of Trustees. We will reconvene to open session at 6:17 p.m. And I will report that when the board reconvened into session, we'll announce a discussion that occurred and the following action was taken. In a unanimous vote of 4-0 with Sandra Price absent, the Board of Trustees voted to reject the portions of the government claim deemed timely, and further, the board took no action on claims that were presented untimely. Moving on. The Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you very much. This evening, the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mr. Lexi Conti. Please stand.
Thank you for standing. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Lexi. Well, this is a time of year that we need motions. And the first motion will do nominate and appoint the president of the Board of Trustees. So moved. I have a motion. Keith Giles made the motion.
I make a motion to nominate Greg Teepee.
You want to do a second first?
You want to do the second?
I don't understand the process here. I thought we did it.
No, we need a motion to appoint the president. Keith gave the motion. Need a second.
So there's a second vote?
Yes.
For the actual individual?
No, there's actually a motion and a second to nominate individuals and appoint the president of the Board of Trustees. So once we open up that conversation and it's open for discussion, then you may nominate an individual.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I second it.
Thank you, Diane. And for a vote, all in favor?
Actually, before we take the vote, now we'll open discussion for nominees.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to
Thank you.
nominate Greg Teepee.
I'll second it.
Greg
I
Teepee.
don't think you need a second, but
By Diane. Are there any other?
I'd say Greg as well, if you need another spot.
Well, with that, I would add my name to the approval for Greg Teepee to be the president of the Board of Trustees. And now we could have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Vote passes 4-0. Congratulations. Now, if we could consider a nomination and appoint the vice president of the Board of Trustees. Could I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for
You. Greg Teepee made the motion, second
Second.
by Miss Diane Grooms. And do I have nominees?
I'd like to nominate Keith Giles for vice president.
Second.
All right. And I will add my approval to Keith Giles for vice president and call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vote passes 4-0. Congratulations, Mr. Giles. And finally, we'll consider a nomination and appoint the clerk of the Board of Trustees. Keith made a motion.
Second.
I'll second that. And nominees? I'll recommend Miss Diane Grooms as our clerk of the Board of Trustees.
I recommend Diane as well.
All right. Well, it's unanimous then, except for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Vote passes 4-0. Congratulations, Diane. And finally, the approval of the superintendent, Dr. Michelle Bowers, to serve as the secretary to the Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Moved by Miss Diane Grooms,
Second.
second by Mr. Keith Giles. All in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
aye. Vote passes 4-0. Congratulations, Dr. Bowers.
Thank you very much. And at this time, if we can take a brief break, we will change the nameplates to reflect the new officers. Thank you. Just a moment.
We can stay seated, just move nameplate.
You may stay seated and we will
Sweet.
just, I'm gonna get Jerry out here real quick to help me change the nameplates. Thank you.
Yeah, it's harder with this cameras and stuff. COVID restrictions. You already been in somebody's. You don't want any antibodies? Music. Where are you going? Yeah, that one can just hang. Yeah, it goes to Dwayne. Yeah, there you go. Or it's short unless you slid one in already. Don't break it. You. No, we're not doing it. Okay, we'll do it.
You don't have the
It'll just be limbo. It's fine. I kind of missed the clerk. Something's off.
Okay, well, pleased to serve in this position and thank you for the support from the board. And before I start, though, I'd like to recognize Dwayne Wynn for all his outstanding service as president this past year. He served with grace and passion and kept the interests of the students and the staff in mind and led us during some difficult and unusual times. So, Dwayne, if you could stand, we have a plaque for you to recognize you.
I guess we can stand
And
in solidarity.
thank you again.
Very well by your service. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Fantastic job.
Well, it was enjoyable.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wynn, for serving.
Okay. And with that, we're going to move on to establish the regular time and meeting days for the Board of Trustees. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Keith Giles, second by Mr. Wynn. And do we have input on that, Ms. Bowers?
Same time.
Yes, actually, there's no change, and the recommendation is for establishing a regular time and meeting days for the Board of Trustees on the first and third Tuesdays, with open session beginning at 5:00 p.m. And regular session beginning at 6:00 for the period of December 14th, 2021, until the organizational meeting in December 2022. And obviously, if there are special board meetings, then that would be above and beyond that. So we will publish a calendar. And the only other time that may be off a little bit, two times, and once in July because of the summer break, And then because of the organizational meeting in December, sometimes that may have to be pushed out on an off week. So based on the regulation to follow it, when the organizational meeting has to occur. So we take a look at that, but we will be publishing a full board schedule calendar based on this regular meeting time and date.
Okay, with that, do we have any discussion? Okay, very good. Then all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And next we have to designate the representative to the Los Angeles Committee on School District Organization and Los Angeles County Schools Trustees Association, LACSTA. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved
I'll
by
second it.
Diane Grooms, second by Keith Childs. And do we have any recommendations?
I recommend Dwayne. He's doing a great job and he likes to go and he's got a carpool he goes with. If you'll do it.
I support that.
Yeah, I really, I am a director for LACSTA at the present time, and I'd like to continue working with the Los Angeles County Schools Trustee Association, so I would.
Thank you for offering to continue in that position. Everyone in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries 4-0. Congratulations. Next, we have item number I, designate representative of the Board of Trustees to serve on the executive board of the Antelope Valley School Boards Association. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dwayne Wynn.
Second.
Second by Diane Grooms. And do we have any nominations?
Yes, I do. I'd like to nominate Mr. Keith Childs to continue to his great service to the Board of Trustees for the AVSBA.
I enjoy serving. Apparently I've been on it for 20 plus years. Thank you guys.
And everyone in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations. And thank you for continuing to serve in that position as well. Next, moving along, we have item I, approval of nomination, J, designate representative to the Antelope Valley Schools Transportation.
Actually, no, I is correct.
Is that okay?
At the top of the page, yes, nomination for CSBA Delegate Assembly.
Okay, excuse me. Yeah, this is for delegate assembly position, so a little bit different. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dwayne Wynn, second by Diane Grooms. And any nominations
I think you guys already nominated me.
for the
I think we
same
did.
I
position?
filled out the paperwork. I think we're legal.
Okay, this is for
Just got to vote for me later.
Keith Giles as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right, it's official now.
Well, we still have to we think we have to vote on our delegates and we have a couple other incumbents that are up as well.
Okay.
I think that's going to be in January.
Oops. I
So-
believe so. We haven't received the information from CSBA yet, but we will, or AVSBA. So as soon as we do.
So tell all your other board friends that who you like. Or your enemies if you don't like.
You'll be on the ballot for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have item J, designate representative to the Allen Valley Schools Transportation Agency.
So moved.
With an alternate
Second.
representative. We have a motion by Keith Giles, a second by Dwayne Wynn.
If Diane will serve, I'd love to have her continue. She's got the most experience ever on that board.
I love diesel and CNG.
And do we have an alternate representative?
Yes, that's Ruby Thompson.
Ruby Thompson? Okay, great.
Love to
And
keep her.
because that's district staff, it doesn't have to be listed here. So
Okay, so all in favor for Diane as the district representative to Antelope Valley Schools Transportation Agency, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And thank you for continuing and serving us in that area as well. All right. Item number K, designate Michael Davis and Charles Coleman to serve as the Title IX officers. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Dwayne Wynn, second by Diane Grooms. And any discussion?
Actually, I would just like to thank the board for the nominations. Mr. Davis and Mr. Coleman serve as directors in our Human Resources Department, and they have been serving as our Title IX officers and doing a fine job. So thank you very much for considering them to allow them to continue in that capacity.
Fantastic. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item L, appointment of Mary Ellen Butterworth, Administrative Secretary of 3 Business Services as the appropriate officer to supervise the destruction of Class 3 records.
So moved.
Moved by Keith Childs, second by Dwayne Wynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And item M, adoption of resolution 2021-22, number 13, certification of authorized signatures. Do we have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Keith Childs, second by Dwayne Wynn, and second by Diane Grooms. Any discussion?
This is actually a formality that allows us to put the signatures associated with the correct officers as we move throughout the rest of the year.
Okay. With that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, great. And that brings us to our informational items. First item we have is the enrollment report.
Good evening, Board. So some good news. In our TK through 8th grade students, we have 14,006 students. In ECE, we have 537. That's a gain of 94 students from our last board meeting and a gain of 308 students from the same time last month.
Last year.
Last year.
Wow.
That's a lot of students. That's 3 classes.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it keeps going up too. That is fantastic. Great news. Okay, thank you very much. Any other informational items?
No, we do not have any additional items to report this evening.
Okay, we have our recognition, the ACES Awards.
Mr. Conti.
No doubt, one of the reasons enrollment is going up is because of the extraordinary employees who serve the Lancaster School District. And it's my honor this evening to recognize some folks for receiving the ACES Award, which is Achieving a Culture of Exceptional Service. And we've got 3 groups of people that we're recognizing, and I'm going to recognize the first all together. So when I call your name, please step forward. And I'm going to invite Mike Davis and Charles Coleman, directors in HR, to assist me this evening. So first up, could I please have Dr. Sonia DeHay, who's not here. We won't hold that against her. Additionally, Sonia Hernandez. Thank you, Sonia. Office assistant at Endeavor. And then Marcia Smith. So let me, as Marcia, thank you. So here's information that we received from Eric Gold. Eric said, who's the assistant principal at Mariposa, he said, Mike and I, and Mike is Mike Choate, the principal at Mariposa. He said, Mike and I want to thank Dr. Sonia DeHay for lending us one of her OAs, Sonia, who served for 2 days at Mariposa Computer Science Magnet School, and has been able to address many of the issues that we needed help with our attendance reporting. Dr. DeHay graciously stepped in to help us get our attendance reports complete. I don't think she really did that, did she? Sonia, who did that work? She was gracious enough to say, "Go, Sonia." Right? That's what happened. And then additionally, Marcia's up here because Marcia Smith supported and coordinated and even ran one of our month's attendance reports. So the two of them really stepped up at Mariposa, where we were without some regular folks because they were out with medical issues. Without the assistance of all of them, we would not have made the deadline to submit the attendance reports to the state. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Sonia, and Marcia. And we want to thank you on behalf of the district by giving you this ACES certificate. So, gentlemen, I'll let you take it from here. Marcia, Sonia, I think I short. Will you join me in recognizing Marcia and Sonia this evening? Congratulations and thank you. And if you want to stay up here with me, I get it, but you're welcome to go back to your seats. Thank you so much. I think Charles said run to that. I don't know. Run and take cover. Next up, I'd like to call up the one, the only Wendy Perry. Wendy? It's always exciting when we present someone with a certificate and she brings a fan club with her. So way to go, Mariposa team. So Wendy, I want to read to you what your assistant principal, Eric Gold, had to say about you. On November 12th, 2021, I went to see how the students were doing in the cafeteria. In front of the cafeteria, Miss Perry had a tarp laid out, and she was eating lunch with her students, picnic style. The students were all smiling, laughing, and having a great time. Of course, I gravitated toward this joyous sound. Miss Perry and her students invited me to join them. I sat down and enjoyed my drink and started talking with the students. Miss Perry then informed me that she was trying to give an incentive for the students to show up on the day after Veterans Day. You'll remember we had Veterans Day on Thursday and everybody was supposed to come back to school on Friday. Well, let's just go on to say that this is what Eric had to say. She knew that attendance might be low, so she wanted to be proactive and ensure that she had the largest class attendance possible. I was astounded. Miss Perry did not come to anyone to find incentives to get her students to come to school. She took it upon herself to provide a fun, cheap, and easy solution to get her students excited about coming to school. I then looked at her attendance for that day compared to the rest of the school. She had half the amount of students absent. It was a success. She gave up her own lunchtime to do this, and the students had a blast. They keep talking about it even a week later. I bet Eric keeps talking about it too. Did he eat the brownies? Oh, he didn't say that. I see. Because of her positivity, putting her students first and taking the initiative to increase her attendance, that is why I'm nominating Miss Wendy Perry for the ACES Award. So Wendy, we just want to say thank you very much for all that you do every day, and especially on the day after Veterans Day. So thank you very much. Board members and executive cabinet, as if that weren't enough, Wendy gave me a bag over there, and there's a treat in there for all of us. And if you don't get it, I'll be happy to eat it. They're not brownies, are they? No. Thank you. Okay. Kim Hickman says they're delicious peppermint cookies. And if you see me leave early tonight, I'm taking them with me. Last up, I'd like to recognize a group of folks who are nominated by a substitute teacher. I think this may be the first time a substitute teacher has taken the time to nominate someone for an ACES award. So I'd like to call forward, if they will join me, please, Principal Tracy Curtis, Assistant Principal Joan Nossick, Assistant Principal Edith Aviles, and Secretary Jennifer Borges. Jennifer is not here. So let me read you know what I should do? I should take this and let you start passing those out. And this is what a substitute teacher, Vincent White, had to say. I am a substitute teacher who decided to be at New Vista Middle School on November 2nd with an 8th grade class. I needed to call for assistance in the removal of 3 students who were disruptive. Upon calling for assistance, the duty aides came within 30 seconds to take care of the situation. As a substitute teacher who works in 3 school districts, it is important for a prompt response when dealing with situations in the classroom, especially when the situation occurs at a middle school. And for those of us that have worked at middle schools, we know what that means. On more than one occasion at other schools, and I'm going to say at other schools and other districts, I have called the office and no one has responded. Other times, there's no phone number list on the wall next to the telephone. Other times, it has taken them close to 5 minutes to come to the classroom. This is too long to respond. This has not been the case at New Vista Middle School. Ms. Borges, the secretary, who is always friendly, has always given me a list of staff to contact. This is not the first time at New Vista Middle School. As when I was in a 6th grade class, a duty aide came into the class and asked if everything was fine. I was told that if I needed assistance, that he would be near my class. I was happy that he came in. It feels good knowing that someone is nearby. Ms. Curtis and her staff deserve to be recognized for their efforts to maintain a safe environment, not only for substitute teachers, but students as well. Thank you so much for taking care of substitute teachers, students, staff, and the community of New Vista Middle School. Thank you. And that's it for ACES tonight. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Fantastic job. Keep up the great work. And we're just so pleased to see all the ways that you guys are excelling in our school district. And thank you, Lexi, for helping present those. Okay, next we have Csba plan, Sunnydale, presentations, requests, proposals, and reports.
Wonderful. And I do believe there she is. Come on down, Dr. Wood. Our fabulous principal at Sunnydale, Dr. Melissa Wood, is going to be, and staff and team, I see, are going to be sharing information, highlights from her Csba plan for Sunnydale.
You're going to use this. Move forward.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and Executive Cabinet, audience, families, Skyhawks out there. I'm so honored to be here tonight. This is my first time presenting as a principal, and I'd like to thank everybody in the room who has put me in this position and has built my experience level to be able to present today as Sunnydale's principal. Today, we're going to give you the single plan for student achievement, and I have a couple of famous people where I'm from with me. I have Assistant Principal Melvin Johnson, good old friend of mine, and now my partner in crime. And for you, Mr. Wynn, you had asked to hear some things about the PTA, so I brought Mrs. Loretta about Walters. She is amazing, as you will see as she concludes our presentation today. So I would like to start with highlighting our instructional leadership team. Sunnydale, it didn't take long for me to realize that it is a very powerful group of people, very talented group of people, and our leadership team is extremely robust. We have a representative from every grade level, and we also have every single chair represented on instructional leadership team, as well as every committee that we have at Sunnydale, is all a part of our instructional leadership team. And I'm so very proud of them and happy to say their names tonight. Sharia Phillips, Jenny Evenson, Cherie Singleton, Dana Clark, Jose Vayin, Jessica Winchell, Celestina Olowich, Amanda Marsh, Tate Diaz, Christina Ramirez, and of course, Mrs. Johnson and myself. And you could see just from the PowerPoint itself that they serve so many different roles as they lead Sunnydale into the best it can be. The mission at Sunnydale is to empower our students with unlimited opportunities for future success. And our vision is to develop well-rounded, confident, and responsible individuals who aspire to achieve their full potential by providing an engaging, safe, and supportive learning environment. The story of Sunnydale is, it goes back to 1958, the year my mother was born. And I'm still learning it today. I love to sit down with our veteran teachers. It's one of the joys that I have at Sunnydale, to be able to speak with them about some of the traditions at Sunnydale. And I'm just proud to be a part of it. And I hope one day somebody will share the traditions of what Melissa Wood did at Sunnydale. We have today 570 TK through 6th grade young Skyhawks, and they're on a beautiful park-like setting. And I bring that up simply because when I walked out on that playground for the first time, it felt like home. I'm an outdoors person, and seeing those beautiful trees made me realize that I was in the right place. The demographic at Sunnydale today is 34% African American, 34% Caucasian, 22% Hispanic or Latino, 16% of our students are English learners, 17% are special education, and approximately 95% are socioeconomically disadvantaged, while 5% of our students are homeless and 2% are foster. But all these people come together as one at Sunnydale. And one thing that I know, that history does repeat itself, and we have a love for basketball, just like they did back in 1958. We'll talk a little bit more about where we're going with that. At our school, we do believe in PBIS, and we believe in CKH strategies. And we're teaching our kids to soar by solving problems, making good choices, and showing respect. Mrs. Walters is going to talk a little bit, and also Mrs. Johnson is going to talk a little bit about the types of things that we're offering in that realm. Our teachers, they value professional learning communities. They value assessment. They value essential standards. They believe in data-driven instruction, and they believe that all children, from intervention to enrichment, should be served, and that differentiation is the key in a classroom. So we're going to focus on that this year. We have a very active community in our committees. School Site Council, ELAC, AAAC, and the PTA all have parents involved, and Mrs. Walters is on every single one of them. So we have a root cause analysis of our signature practice I'd like to share with you. The instructional leadership team got in the same room together on several occasions. And the reason why we're one of the last ones is because we wanted to get it right, and we wanted to do it right the first time. So we've had multiple discussions around data, around attendance, around office discipline referrals out of our Swiss system. We looked at suspensions, which we've cut down dramatically. We've looked at iReady scores, both language arts and math. And we also looked at teacher formative assessments. From that, we've decided that reading is the priority this year. And what do we need to do to prioritize reading? We need time. We have Sports for Learning time. Thank you, Jordan, and everybody who's been involved in getting Sports for Learning to us. We have Pink Tuesdays. Thank you for whoever was involved in getting us that time as well. So the PD PLCs are going to be spent for prioritizing reading. We need assessment so we know where our instruction needs to go so we can have data-driven discussions and plan our instruction around it with proper differentiation for all levels of students. We are proud that we are going to spend professional development, and we're going to spend our time focusing on these items so that way we can do the best for our kids and focus on literacy at Sunnydale. So our theory of action is this: Sunnydale Elementary will implement professional learning communities, assessment, and data-driven instruction with fidelity. So this is something that we're going to focus on Pink Tuesdays, and we're going to focus on it during our Sports for Learning time. This is going to increase student achievement outcomes, and the initial focus in this cycle will be in the domain of reading. Specifically, they talked about comprehension, vocabulary, phonemic awareness, but all under the domains of reading in whichever direction that we need to go based on assessment. This will eventually turn into something where we focus on math and other elements as well, such as behavior. But for this year, for right now, it's reading. So as we look at site goal number 1, academics, we can see this is our signature practice that we're going to implement these professional learning communities. We're going to have pre and post assessments. We're going to take the results from those assessments and have great discussion about where we need to go with instruction and how we're going to take intervention and enrichment at Sunnydale. We're going to do this with fidelity. We're going to do it with transparency, and we're going to do it as a community. So that way, in collaboration, we will do what's best for students and student achievement. In the spring, we're going to bring you iReady scores. We're going to bring you scores from standards mastery tests. We're going to use ILB's interim assessment blocks from the CASP test. And we're going to use Illuminate. We've already begun our Illuminate training. Thank you, Christy Zeno, for bringing that to Sunnydale. And we're going to create our own assessments based around the essential standards. I'm really proud of the Sunnydale teachers. We have, sorry, I'm a little nervous. I just want to do everybody proud. We have a group of teachers that are amazing. Their potential is limitless. And I know that we're going to do great things for our students. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and pass the mic on to Miss Melvin Johnson, Assistant Principal.
When I get, you better come and show me. Oh, you gotta get that. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Melvin Johnson, and I'm going to talk to you all about goal 2, which is culture. Okay. So we want to make everyone feel welcome at Sunnydale, and we want to make it a welcoming school for families as well as students. So with that being said, you know, that culture is the way of life, the way that people do things, the beliefs that's been passed down from generations to generations. So equity is the focus at Sunnydale Elementary School. We strive to promote equity and inclusiveness with our African American populations, English language learners, and special education populations within our schools. With input from all of our advisory groups, which include the African American Advisory Council, ELAC, School Site Council, and all councils that we have on our campus. All EL students will be provided a minimum of 30 minutes of designated ELD instruction with a focus on academic vocabulary and accountable talks. And this 30 minutes of ELD instruction is built within our master schedule at Sunnydale. This is based on the 2012 California ELD standards. Is why we focus on academic vocabulary and accountable talks. We would be using SADAI and AVID instructional strategies. Additionally, all EL students will be provided with high quality integrated ELD instruction throughout the day, and this will be done in all content areas. This ELD instruction will be monitored by LPAC, iReady, and common formative assessments. Okay. The next thing I will talk about is climate. Okay, so again, we have decreased absences at Sunnydale. In fact, our attendance right now is at 89%. We have done a lot of things like Strive for 5 challenges, Auto-Pop challenges, donuts, and then Strive for 95% attendance. So we do many things to decrease absences and increase attendance. And we also have, we'll be working on decreasing suspensions. At this point in the year, we're only at 9 suspensions. We believe in teaching behavior lessons rather than suspending students. Our ODRs have decreased by half. That's office discipline referrals. So we have a decrease in that based on our Swiss data. And this happens because we're using CKH strategies, PBIS, we have a store, and then we're already focusing on rebooting PBIS starting in January. But again, ODRs have been reduced by 1/2 from last year and the year before. We're using all kinds of social emotional learning strategies, which include second step, engagement strategies, PLC, CKH, and PBIS. And all of this is monitored by Swiss, where we look at data to see, to check on our ODRs, suspension, attendance, and we do classroom walkthroughs, and then we'll be doing youth truth data surveys in the springtime. So, and our walkthroughs are conducted with our ILT teams. So this is our climate. So I'm going to turn this over to Miss Loretta Walters to talk about engagement. Change it.
Good evening. My name is Loretta Bebot Walters. I'm also known as Mrs. Walters. I'm the Family and Community Ambassador over at Sunnydale Elementary. And these are a couple of things that are happening at the Nest. For PBIS, one of the best things is, like what Mrs. Johnson said, our Skyhawk store. These kids come to the store enthused. They cannot wait for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to spend their money, as they say. So they can purchase gifts for themselves or for presents for the family. Please bear with me. This is very intimidating. Okay. Communication. Sunnydale is a great communicator. I love it because I will literally be in my office and I will get a text. Then I get an email and then I'll get a phone call. We utilize Dojo, Peach Jar, Facebook. What else? Our website. I'm also privileged enough to be in the back gate of the school to where I meet the 1st grade through 4th grade students every single morning, and I get an opportunity to meet the families as well. And that is my communication, which I love because I've been able to touch base with so many families. I also can share my website, my first website, by the way, still working on it. But I have a plethora of information and resources on there, as well as resources and contacts for every single community ambassador, family and community ambassador for the whole district. Because we do have many families that have multiple kids in different schools. And I tell them, hey, if I can't help you, I'll reach out to the other school to be able to help you there. Speaking of communication, we also strive for lesson 5. After I finish the gate, I go up to the front office and I tend to Tardies, to where I tell the children and the students and the families who come in the importance of being on time. And if the families have to set up a doctor's appointment, to please Do it after school. If they're not able to, then please see if there's enough time to bring the student back because it's important for that instructional time. And to be on time every day. Parenting Partners is a 6-week program. We're going to start ours next year, February 2nd. This program is to teach families the tools to build a strong family and school partnership. It is an awesome program and I encourage everybody, if you can, we're doing it Zoom. We also connecting with 6 other ambassadors. We have a lot of new ambassadors, so we're embracing them and showing them how to do it. Trying to talk fast because I have a lot to say and it's only 3 minutes. Okay, homeless and foster. We were able to run a food drive and we received donations of toys from Kiwanis of Palmdale, who is actually led by one of our own teachers, Mr. Ramirez. And thank you so much to AVPH for continuing to help our school. And they were able to donate winter coats for our families. We actually finished today. I stayed a little bit longer because this is one of my babies since Westman days. My kids are 17 and 18, so do the math. So we are able to do 18 families, toys, coats, and food. Love it. So also we have a connection, Rose Juarez, who is one of the head ladies over at APH. She had contacted me today and said they have toys, shoes, and more clothes. So she asked me, give me a list. So I gave her 44 families. PTA is led by our wonderful president, Lisa Hughes, and our awesome board. We just finished our membership drive, which was a race to the finish. Literally, it's ended today because it was a race car thing. So get it? It was, let's see, Spiritwear is well under our way. And we will be receiving Spiritwear shortly so our Skyhawks can show the school spirit. Wacky Wednesday is just that. So it's, I believe, the second Wednesday of every single month. They get to dress wacky, crazy kind of thing, and the children love it. Community events. I'm trying to make sure I didn't. Oh, excuse me, rewinding. And we have monthly restaurant nights because we're not able to run fundraisers at the school. So we're doing monthly restaurant nights to be able to generate money for PTA and for the school. Community events. Check this out. This is so freaking awesome. Okay. Our last community event we were able to ask Fire Station 130, and they are such sweethearts. They've always been helping us for the whole community. And the AV Press was there. We did a special 20th anniversary for 9/11. They came out. Mrs. Marsh, who's a 5th grade teacher, she had her students make thank you cards and posters presented to them. The guys stood there. They took pictures. They had, was it the whole school? Or a good, all 5th grade come. It was a lot of kids. They all social distancing. They were listening. They were telling the importance of, how to do certain things. Oh, and excuse me, by the way, we got front page of the paper the next morning. So I bought them all at Walmart and I distributed to everybody. Okay, Basketball Jam is a brand new program. So I'm going to ask Dr. Wood if she can help me with this. What I know about it is a motivational basketball event for our upper grades to be involved in. So we have purchased jerseys as well as referee outfits. And the reason it's called Basketball Jam is because they're going to be jammed to music. So that's going to be on Fridays. Anything else on there? Okay. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I try to put clip notes. I could talk for like an hour. Thank you.
So yes, bringing up Basketball Jam again, just to go full circle. So it's my understanding that those old hoops up in the cafeteria is a great tradition at Sunnydale. Miss Lockman, who's been at Sunnydale since 1973, told me that basketball was king at Sunnydale. So we're bringing it back. We have jerseys ordered for the 5th and 6th grades. We're going to have that jam session out there. We plan on bringing these tournaments on Fridays. So any ballers out there, you're more than welcome to come join us. We'll put you in as a ref so that way you have to run the court. But I hope, Mr. Wynn, that you got what you wanted out of Miss Loretta. If you guys have any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Great presentation, fantastic programs. And I just had a quick question. You mentioned something about a Tuesday session or something for teacher planning or something?
Yes, Pink Tuesdays, we have PDPLCs. And, often we think about where we need to go with those Tuesdays, but with a focus on reading and professional learning communities, the time teachers have asked for the time to be able to work together, to be able to do that work. And we feel it's time well spent because teachers that are given time to do what they do best will perform for students. And so we are going to focus on assessment, professional development, and the conversation around intervention and enrichment on those PD PLC Tuesdays.
Great. Very good. And any other questions, Mr. Nguyen?
Yes, I do want to say thank you to Mrs. Walters and, of course, to you, Dr. Wood and Melwin. The PTA during my year as president never came to the board meeting to speak. And it just broke my heart. So I did want to say thank you very much for coming. You can get up and speak when Greg calls your PTA again. But the most important thing is Sunnydale's PTA just did a fundraiser the other night at Chipotle. And they did it at a 30% return, which was fantastic. PTA has long been in fashion for me since both of my daughters were in school more than 30 years ago. And my wife's gotten the golden apple for PTA. It's just very important. So I wanted you to know, and Lisa to know also, that I really respect you doing what you're doing.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys. And of course, we love what we do. And we want to do more of it.
You're always welcome.
Any other questions or comment?
Thank you, guys. Good presentation.
Thank you.
Very good.
Great job.
Good.
Thank you, Sunnydale. I was thinking about coming over for your basketball jam, but you said I'd have to run the court, so that's out.
That's the hard part.
You don't have to run the court, Ms. Bowers. All right, and that brings us to the first interim budget report.
Making her way to the podium, the one, the only, Ruby Thompson.
Hello. You're going to use this button to go forward?
Thank you. Okay. And I have to follow that.
I know.
I don't have a Melwin Johnson, but I do have an Isabel Alatorre. Will you stand up, Isabel? She's my accounting supervisor, and I'm going to tell you she's my right-hand person. And I'm going to tell you she's the best cheerleader you could have. So we don't get to talk about all the good things we do at the schools, but what we do get to talk about is the budget and where our standings are and how we can support the schools with the monies that are provided. So for first, this is one of the best years as far as budgeting we've had in a long, long time. I don't know if it's a pandemic. I don't know if the state is just doing really, really good, but I'm going to tell you we love it. So in 21-22, which is this year, we have a 5.07% COLA. Remember that part of that is a COLA that they brought over from last year. We also have for 22-23, it's a 2.48, and for 23-24, we have a 3.17. Those are really important because remember, we're getting ready to go into what they call the cliff, which we've been in a hold harmless for a couple of years. And so we're going to need every bit of that COLA just to maintain the programs and services that our our sites and everything so graciously put out for our students, and all of the departments have all of the programs to support them. So they gave us a break for STRS and PERS, and you'll notice that in 21-22, it didn't go up very much from the prior year. But if you go down to 22-23, all of a sudden they make up time. So I don't know how that gave us a break, except it was a one-time deal. But just remember that in next year and the year after, there's going to be some pretty hefty increases in our PERS and STRS. And that's something that we're going to have to make sure that we have the funds to, provide that right at the time that we're going to have the cliff. So it's like everything's going to hit all at one time. When I look at all the money that's coming in, I wanted to kind of break it out a little bit. And thank you to Isabel for putting some of these things together for me. But you look at the federal programs, and we have our programs for Title I, Title II, Title III, and you can see the monies that we're getting off of that. But take a look at the total one-time dollars. We're getting $63 million in this year. Now, remember that some of this money carried over from last year, and whatever we don't spend, we're going to carry it over again into next year. But this is one-time dollars, and like I said, all of these federal programs, we have to budget them as though we're going to spend them all in this year. So whatever we don't spend in this year to maintain our programs and to increase everything for our students, will roll over into the next year. And that's why sometimes when we say that we're going to have 3% at the end of the third year out, the following year, we still have that 3%. And that's because these monies that are given to us for very specific purposes are rolling over from year to year so that we can maintain those programs. There's a lot of, some of this one-time dollars are for testing. They're for COVID-related expenditures. And so just know that this is one-time dollars. If you have any salaries or anything that are being paid for out of this, you're going to have to figure out 2 years from now where we're going to pay this from. So we want to be very mindful of the fact that these are one-time dollars. And at the end of all of this, we're going to have to go back, just like we did a few years ago back in 12-13, and we have to set a new base program. And then we'll see what programs are really, really working. Maybe the pandemic has really allowed us to build some programs that are better than they were before, and those we want to keep. And then those that may not have worked so well, maybe those we want to do away with. But there's going to be a very, very, very big challenge at the end of 23, 24, when a lot of these dollars go away, to just get us back on a common ground so that we know what we're going to use to go forward. But thank you for this dollars from the state and the federal government, because it allows us to reorganize how we're doing things, have the dollars to try new things for our students, to bring up student achievement, to help them with the loss of instructional face time. So this is a good time for us to do a reset. But just remember that in a couple of years, when these dollars are over, we want to make sure that we are really good at that reset and keep the best, and let the stuff that hasn't gone too well, maybe it's stuff that we've even done for years, but we get that reset to make our programs and our district the best that it can be.
Ruby, before you move away from that slide, I'd also like to just remind everyone that the one-time dollars are also used to support the purchase of a lot of the PPE.
Yes.
That we have to continue to provide and have available, as well as the technology that we need to continue to provide and have available. We are really working very diligently to be at that one-to-one point. So we have acquired a lot of technology, but we are not completely there yet. So we continue to work on that. We are continuing to work on, as the board will recall, we have a phased approach to replacing a lot of HVAC systems, which is going to be quite a costly endeavor, as well as systems that we have, portable systems that we have in all of the classrooms right now. So in addition to the services and supports and resources, academic resources that we are utilizing these one-time dollars to support as far as trying to close some of those gaps for our students, we're also looking at some of the other improvements that we need to make or have an opportunity to make with some of these one-time dollars to our facilities as well. And we've also acquired quite a significant number of temporary staff that help us with our wellness rooms, and they're serving as wellness aides to assist with the testing on an ongoing basis, as well as supporting students and any others that are identified with possible symptoms throughout the school day. So we have lots of different things going on to support not only the academics, but the safety of our facilities and the safety of our students and staff as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bowers. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because one of the things that this team is really good at is taking these one-time dollars that isn't just going to help us now, but will have years and years and years of benefit. And the HVAC will do just that. Some of our schools had some very antiquated systems, and this gives us the opportunity to bring us up to speed. And it won't even, not just the HVAC, but our electricity and everything that goes along with that. So this is going to give us years of benefit using one-time dollars. So we're being smart about how we're spending these dollars, and we're making sure that we're getting the longevity out of these dollars as well. The state, we have the same thing. However, remember that the LCFF comes out of our state, so we have our base dollars. Supplemental concentration dollars are up a little bit. And remember, in this budget, we went from 50% for supplemental concentration up to 65%. Again, another boost for what we had that will also help us as we go through this ADA cliff that we're about ready to hit. So we also have some one-time dollars of almost $15 million. Part of it is AB 86, which is the in-person instruction. That was the dollars that were used to help us get back into the classrooms. So we've talked about the federal, we've talked about the state. Our local is what's left over, and almost every penny of that goes into special ed. Special ed also got a bump, and I hope that they will continue to look at those increases in special ed, because special ed has been extremely underfunded for many, 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 many years. And so they're trying to do some increase what we're getting, but it still falls really short of what we need. And if we look at it, it's, I would say, in the neighborhood of $16 million that we still contribute out of general fund to support what the state and the federal government are not supporting as far as special ed is concerned. So we talk about, sometimes it's talked about as an encroachment. It's not an encroachment on the general fund. It's to support the under support that we're getting from the state and the federal government. They really have been lagging behind for many, 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 many years. I'll tell you a quick story. One of the new CBOs, in fact, he's from West Side, Mr. Csba. He came in his first meeting for special ed. He says, we all got to get together and do something. They can't just not give us any money. We all kind of looked at him and said, this is kind of how it goes. Let us know how you feel about this in a few years. And I talked to him about a year ago, and he says, I had no idea. But it just really is an area that we need to continue to support and get the federal and the state government to provide what is required for special ed students, because our special ed costs continue to go up. So when we look at our multi-year projection, you can see that we have a lot of revenue in 21-22. That's because of all of the one-time dollars. You see that it really kind of takes a nosedive next year. Also remember that I've told you that if we don't spend that money will flow into the years to come. So we're going to be smart about how we use the one-time dollars. We're going to make sure that we spend them by the time the cutoffs are for those dates, but we're going to push this off as far as we can and do everything that we can to support the students and get the longevity out of these dollars. You'll notice that the salaries and benefits also go down, and so do the other services. And again, this is the one-time dollars and how we're projecting to spend them. And again, if we're going to continue with those services and those salaries and benefits, those will be pushed off into the other 2 years as well. But when we look at it, we have a state required reserve. The third year out is $6.38 million. We have 8.27, so we will make the 3% reserve. We don't quite have enough for the 6% reserve, but again, we can't use that reserve out of the one-time dollars. So what this multi-year projection doesn't really say, that you can't really see, is that we have a trans. It's $22 million that we took out for a cross-year trans. Remember when they were supposed to do all of these deferrals, and then they ended up not taking the deferrals. We got our money back a lot quicker. Well, that trans has to be paid back in February. We also have a hold harmless through this year, and I've been talking about that through the past few slides. We do see that the ADA or the attendance is coming up, or the enrollment's coming up, but just remember that last year we had a loss of over 600 ADA, and we have to make that up just to get to where we were 2 years ago. So that when we talk about the hold harmless, we're talking about 2 years ago, not last year. So we still have a ways to climb before we can get out of there. So we're still looking at a decrease of 600 to 650 ADA. So we're looking at a loss of $6 to $7 million just in that ADA. And that, remember that we've got an increase in supplemental concentration. We've got an increase in a lot of different areas, but we're still going to see that cliff. And we have taken that into account in our multi-year projection. So as I stated, we have $2.19 million left over after the state required reserve.
And really, on that slide, just a reminder to everyone, and maybe you could just offer a brief overview. While it's good news that we see our enrollment kind of continuing to have a little bump, that's a great thing. The thing that's not so great is that our ADA continues to suffer significantly because we do have a lot of students that are out. So where we're hoping and working towards that 95% of attendance daily, that's how we get paid. So students have to be here in school in their seats in order for the district to receive the revenue for those students. It's not based on enrollment, the number of students enrolled. So it's really important that we do what we can as a school community to promote, continue to promote good health, and so that students can be here and they can be healthy and not sent home, and that we together can make every effort possible to make appointments outside of the regular school day and have kids there on time. So that attendance, that good attendance is extremely important for us, because that is what is going to make the biggest difference. And we're seeing a considerable concern and dip in that area right now.
But here's a silver lining. Next year, we also have an opportunity to increase our ADA, because the rule is that it's the current year or the prior year ADA, whichever is greater. So just because we're down this year, next year, if by P2, which is in April, we have made more gains, then we can use that this year's P2 and not the prior. Remember how when we're in declining ADA, a lot of times the prior year will be greater? Well, what we're hoping for is, I know she's gone, Wendy Perry. We need a lot more Wendy Perrys out there. We need these people generating this ADA so that we don't see that cliff. And I will tell you, about 4 years ago, we did just that. We went down about 100 ADA, and we went down about 100 students, I should say, but the ADA increased. So we know how to do it. We just are going to have to, get our Wendy Perrys in this district and figure out how we multiply that over, many, 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 many sites. And I know that we can do that. So that's what we're going to be trying to do, is put a big push on the attendance incentives and on getting our students to school. It's not only a win for us, but it's a win for the students. If the students aren't in school, they can't learn. Okay? So LACO continues to look at the reserve requirements, and they continue to let us know that 3% is not enough. In the last recession that we had, it was horrible. Had we not had the reserves that we had, there's many, many, many districts that wouldn't have made it. And we have to remember that. We can't get complacent on the dollars that are in there now, because 3% is less than 2 weeks of this district's salaries. And so when you think about it that way, it really is not enough. Even for your personal lives, they're saying that you should have 6 months in reserve in savings. We don't have that. And so we need to make sure that we're poised to where we could weather another recession. Okay? So, and our reserves is our responsibility. We need to decide how to assess what we need with our specific circumstances in this district. So that's about it. We have some good. We have some things that we, really need to kind of look at and be concerned about. But all in all, we're doing pretty good. And I think we're doing a lot of good things with the dollars that are being given to us. We've got a lot of, people just really building new programs, putting new things out there that will give us a lot of longevity for this district. So I think when we really look at some of, our neighboring districts, and I'm not talking about just here in the Antelope Valley, I'm talking about in California, I think we're doing pretty well. And I think it has to do with everybody that we have here that is really pushing that train forward. Any questions? See, I talked long enough. You can't even.
Oh, yeah. I know.
There you go.
And I probably know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You said that there was $10 million in local revenues from special ed. How is it categorized as local? Is it because the students are?
No, it's categorized as local because we're part of a symposium, Antelope Valley's SELPA. And so we get our dollars from Palmdale School District. And that's why it's considered local.
That's
good
right.
question.
I remember that one.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question. You mentioned that the salaries and benefits were going to go down about 10 million next year. I was just curious what that was from, how we were saving that money.
Okay, we don't know exactly where those dollars are taken from. What I have to do when I build a multi-year projection is I take the salaries that are paid for out of those one-time dollars and I move them out. Because remember, those are all paid out of one-time dollars. When we get ready to go and build the budget, as we're going to get ready to here in a couple of months, we're going to then decide, do we take some of those 4,000s and 5,000s, which are supplies and services on our contracts, then we'll move those back up to support those. Remember, I also said that we would be bringing over the one-time dollars that we didn't spend. When we bring over those one-time dollars, we decide how we're going to spend those. And I would bet you that a lot of those dollars go right back into those supplies and services. But I have to remove all of the expenditures for those one-time dollars, and I removed them exactly where they were taken from. So it's not like we're going to lose those salaries and benefits. It's just that those are accounted for in the one-time dollars. And as we move it over, then we decide again how we're going to spend those dollars. And again, if the programs are really doing what we intended them to do, we will keep them. So it's not a savings. It's just that we don't have those dollars until we know what the carryover is from those one-time dollars to put where we're spending them this year. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. Great. And great work with the reserve, how we had the reserve before. I think that's really come in handy, and definitely I'm in support of building that back up whenever we can. Also, the attendance programs, whatever we can do at a district level, whether it be donuts or pizza or whatever, to encourage teachers and staff. I'm all for it, supporting it at the district level as well.
And I'm all for apples and bananas and oranges.
Probably a better idea.
I will tell you that we do give money out in our lottery that is for attendance incentives. And so the sites do work really hard at trying to keep up that attendance incentive. And there's some really neat ideas that have come out. And I know Dr. Bowers has shared some ideas and telling us, put your incentives at the beginning of the day, because that's when they're going to take attendance. If you have these, what do they call them when they have, get all the kids together? If you have it at the end of the day, maybe they come at noon. But if you have them at the beginning of the day, that's when you're going to take attendance. So it's little things like that that really are going to make the huge difference.
That sounds great. Yeah, great work. Glad to see that we're working through the issue with the state attendance part. So keep up the great work, everyone. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Ruby.
Okay, next we have our leadership associates.
Fantastic, and thank you for your patience. This evening, I am pleased that we are joined by a representative from Leadership Associates, Dr. Fred Van Leuven, and he's going to provide some information and an overview about the services and support Leadership Associates is prepared to offer the district.
You're going to hit this one. Go forward. This one, go back. Okay, cool. Well, good evening. How exciting this is to be here. This is my first legitimate board meeting that I've been in probably about 2 years. And it's a phenomenal facility. You guys have done a phenomenal job in the safety issue. Just a great facility and all the work that's gone into that. I am from Leadership Associates. You have a PowerPoint that I'm going to use as talking points. I know that you're an excellent board and you've read all this stuff. I'm going to try to hit the highlights because you have a long meeting. Probably the most agenda items or action items I've been in a long time. I'd also, before I say anything, talk about Dr. Bowers. She's saying goodbye. Some people have figured that out. Some people haven't figured it out. It's now official that I'm standing here in front of everybody talking about how you might go about doing that. But she's had not only a great tenure here, she's had a great career as well. We've crossed paths in our life. She was in Canal Valley Unified School District where I was at one point in my life. And so it's been a really good opportunity to watch the growth, and especially on this side of the valley. Okay. So to start off, there's only one person standing here today. We really have three. I'll talk a little bit about myself. David Verdugo is former superintendent of Paramount. He was the executive director for CALSA. He's done a number of things, just a lot of experiences. Blanca is, I made an executive decision not to have her come from Taft, given the weather. She was upset because she wanted to come here, and I said, well, I want you to come back another time. So she's not here, but we're all here in spirit. I am the lead for this, and I actually live in Solvang, about 30 miles north of Santa Barbara. Been there since '96. Been in Orange County, San Diego County, Ventura County, and Santa Barbara County. Also have been the president of WASC, the organization that accredits schools. So when your kids leave, they're going to high school. We had, I'm not sure what came out of we had the middle schools and the elementary schools in a number of the districts in this Antelope Valley participate in WASC as well. But I was the president of that. So that's just a little bit about us. The purpose of this is to tell us a little bit about the people who are going to be working with you if you approve the contract, tell you a little bit about the organization, and probably the most important part is the end of this thing, what the steps are, because that's the big deal. And there's been at least one person on this board who's been there through a number of years, maybe two. And some of you, this may be your first experience. So we'll help you get through that part of it. One of the things that makes us different is we have former superintendent executive assistants that actually help staff. And so we have Penny Pyle is the one who's assigned. She's the former superintendent's assistant in Davis. Becky Banning has been in San Diego and some other places. But we have Penny will be working with us, and they do a lot of things helping with the board agendas, making sure the language is correct, help facilitate getting an idea of all the things that, all the moving pieces that go around that we just try to keep it simple. You know, I could just stand here and start pointing at all of these displays of all the phenomenal things that are going on in your schools. And also just sitting here in this meeting, listening about what's not listed here is your attendance that you're starting to grow, because there's a lot of districts that are losing attendance on top of what they've had in the last year throughout the state. Just a number of the great staff that you have, listening to all the, you know, you already acknowledged the staff that came and presented to you, but very strong staff, and you can tell that part of it. But you obviously, we listed a number of things that the district has accomplishments. A little bit about us. We do the most superintendent searches in California. We've been around since 1996. We just finished the Antelope Valley High School District superintendency. David and I have been involved with the Santa Maria High School District. We've also done Evergreen School District, which is up in San Jose, about another, that's 14,000 kids, I think. Orcutt, which is another element. I just picked some elementary districts so you could see that we've had that experience, but I also picked Santa Clara Unified School District. So we've been around throughout the state, and those are ones that one of the partners have done. So we listed those. The other thing that makes us different is we're not consultants. We're all vested partners in this organization. And every 2 weeks, we have a meeting talking about the searches, talking about candidates. We do not have a stable. There's a perception that we have a stable of people that we just kind of like move around. It doesn't work that way. We will go through a process in which you and your community will help define what you're looking for. And that's what goes out to the world. And then we try to help you figure out if what you're looking for is in the candidates. So we're all over the state. You can see where we are. All of us are former superintendents in another lifetime. And so we've had quite a bit of experience. We've also had some experience in other organizations. One of our partners is currently the interim executive director for AXA. We also have one of our partners who's actually a board member in the Lake Tahoe County area. And we have just a number of the organizations that we've been associated with. Just like, you know, our why and all these things, you know, we're trying to help districts find the best candidates to serve the communities. That's just the short line. We value all the list things that are down there: integrity, equity, excellence, diversity, inclusion, accountability, and transparency. Those are all very important to us. We do other things besides help school boards, and we help, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second, but we work with superintendents, we work with assistant superintendents, and we end up running into a lot of people and learning a lot about other folks' potential candidates. And the question is, why would you want to pick us? Well, we're all still actively engaged in education. It's not like we're hanging out someplace and walking around. We're in the middle of these things. We've had a variety of experiences. We have been able to meet the diverse needs of the California's population. 67% of, as it says, the finalists were selected were women or candidates of color. Keep in mind, all these candidates come in, and it's the board that selects who they want as their superintendent. But you will be surprised at the wide breadth of folks that you're going to get. We have being the largest in the search firm in the state. When we put something on a website, it goes out, and we have people from out of state, a number of out of state candidates that will come. WASC actually has played a role because we do international schools. So there will be people that will come from other countries if that's what you're interested in. That'll be one of the things we would need to talk about. It might be a little bit difficult for somebody from another country to try to figure out California, even just based on what you heard today about special ed and the way the funding issues are. The other thing that's different about us is that we provide executive leadership development. So I actually am responsible for working with the Santa Clarita and the Antelope Valley superintendents. And we have these regular these meetings that we have. It's called the Superintendent Leadership Series. I'm proud to say that this group has the highest percentage of attendance, which is like almost 100% every meeting. And that we touch at least 250 people, superintendents through this whole process in the state. So we're in Orange County, San Diego County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County. We just hit Santa Barbara. We go up into Northern California. We also have a network that we've created for assistant soups. And then we do obviously other professional development, working with boards and workshops and evaluations and those kinds of things. So what's different about this thing, and this, we're going to take this chart and we're going to roll it around here, but it will be explaining the next sheet, which is really the timeline. The most important thing is this is your search. It starts with you and it ends with you. The most valuable part I think that we bring is the stakeholder input. This is, if you're familiar a little bit with WASP, it's like doing a self-study. And we are going to give you more information that you'll ever want to see in your life. It's like tons of information. Surveys, we'll interview people. We put an executive summary together. You'll get a chance to see that. We'll look for trends or themes that's coming out of this. We put a profile together, and then we take that around and we will advertise that. Also remind you that's what you're looking for when you're selecting candidates, because you're going to see all the candidates' papers. We don't block anything out. You'll see everything. We will vet them. You'll see everything, and you'll make a decision about who you want to interview. That will also shape your interview questions based on the things that you're looking for. So I'll give you an example. We're just completing the Santa Maria Bonita Elementary School District, 17,000 kid district in Santa Barbara County, probably 30 miles from where I live. We had on the surveys, we had almost, I think, 1,700, 1,800 English surveys. We had 700 Spanish surveys. I've never had such participation. You're talking about engagement. There's things that they're doing that I'm learning that I think it's, I cheat and I actually share these things with other districts. But there's some ideas and things that are going on in that district that are shared, can be shared and probably replicated. That I need to learn a little bit more about that. But that's the kind of outreach that's going on. And it's really pretty impressive. At the high school district, Antelope Valley High School District, had the world's record, as far as I know. In the first hour that this survey became live, we had 1,400 people that had already responded in the first hour. So, and obviously 23,000 kids, that there's quite a bit, opportunities, but that just gives you an idea of the outreach that's going to happen in both community. Students have an opportunity. We had a number of students in the Santa Maria Bonita, and that's okay. And we can talk to kids. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But so it starts and ends with you. We're getting stakeholder input. I will say it's going to be Zoom on the just because of COVID, but it's also, in the old days, we would go sit in a room and people would have to come find us. Okay, well, now we're in Zoom and there'll be three of us. We could have 3 sessions going at a time. We probably put 12 people in it, and we'll have, I don't know, I bet we could have at least 300 people opportunities, depending on how many days we have. Add that to the surveys, which most people do use the surveys because it's become more convenient. So there's a great deal of opportunity for input. We also do the recruitment and campaigning and outreach. We vet everybody. We create this profile, and then we will advertise it, and then we will meet with you to figure out who you want to interview, and then you guys do the interview and you figure out. We help you through this whole process. Okay. You're going to need probably Braille to read this. If you probably can read it off your computers, but one of the interesting things that happens is I get really protective because I don't want to get competing with other school districts. They're starting to look for superintendents. Santa Maria Bonita just went out and they're way ahead of you, which is okay. But there will be a whole bunch of them that haven't, districts that have not declared anything. So I've given you a pretty aggressive proposal draft for the timeline. And you really backward map it because the bottom line is where this thing ends is where you have to approve a contract in the public meeting. That's your regularly scheduled meeting. Tonight, you just set what your schedule is. So that part's good. And Michelle and I had kind of worked through this part of it and we sort of set that as the date, thinking that might be, but it's again, a draft. So when we go backwards, that's the most important thing. And then starting whenever we start, we have it there. It can be whenever it gets worked out. But what we put in here is obviously today is the 14th and I'm having this conversation with you. And later on this agenda, if you approve the contract, then we'll get started on this thing. The next thing that has to happen is we need to sit down with you and have a conversation with you about the basically 3 questions that we ask everybody in the Zoom conversations, as well as in the survey is what are the characteristics, skills, experiences you want to see in the next superintendent? What are the strengths of the district? And what do you see as the challenges that are coming up in the next, short term? Obviously COVID, probably everybody will say, but we just heard a little bit about maybe finances. I don't know how much the world knows about the finances. These are all things that you'll discover when you talk with people and you'll see these threads. Anyway, so that on the 11th is what we would be proposing, sitting down with you and having a conversation with you about that. We open a survey up and we have it from the 1st through the 20th. And I'm not sure when you guys are coming back from the break, Okay, so there's plenty of time. So we open it up. The one thing great about the Antelope Valley is the newspaper covers all of this stuff and we'll put this out there and you get free advertisement. It's been phenomenal press coverage. And then we were looking like 3 days that we sort of set as the 13th, 14th, and the 18th for us to meet. And we would work with staff to figure out, we would sit down with you and tell you, who do you think we want to talk with? Make sure we have all these groups covered and there's a list of them. And then we would put that together and then we'll assign ourselves to make sure we're there for that period of time. And we'll go like this. It becomes an all-day slugfest, from could be 7:30 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. And it's probably every 25 minutes. And it's maybe a 5-minute break in between just because we deserve it. I don't know. Anyway, so we go through that process. We have 2 advertisements that we're sort of stuck with because that's when EdCal is still operating, but we are advocating for the 24th and the 31st, and then actually closing on February 21st, which gives them enough time. That also allows some superintendent symposium time, which is in that week, in the January. And then we would need to sit down with you. Well, 2 things. One is we need a consensus for what this profile looks like. So as soon as we're done with the information from the community and the profile or the survey, we will create a draft position profile that you guys would say, yeah, this is good. And that's what we'll be using to advertise that. So there's one meeting that we're going to need to just figure that part of it out. The second thing is we'll need a meeting to figure out who you want to interview. And then the third one would be a meeting that you're going to need to actually sit down and interview. So those are the 3 commitments. All this other stuff is going to be going behind the scene. And then we can figure out if you want to do a validation visit or not, which means you can go probably Zoom, go talk to people that are there just to validate it, and then be able to on the April board meeting approve the contract. Okay. So the closing thoughts, as this says, again, as I said, the search is your search. We'll help you design it. It's one fee when we come in. That's what it is. We're not adding anything else. It's including everything. If we come here, if we're doing Zoom, all these different meetings that we have, everything's covered. We're providing an administrative staff, experienced administrative staff to work with your staff to go through this. We have a portal. You'll have the opportunity to get everything electronically, and we'll probably give you hard copies too. But you'll have the opportunity to get it electronically. And again, we do, even though we're a California firm, we have a national search or reach. Okay, here I am. Do you want to build it? Are there any questions? A lot, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of good information here. Any questions? Diane?
Okay, so you have February 21st as the deadline for applications. However, January 31st is only the second, gotta take this out, date on EdCal. Given that the 21st is President's Day, could we extend that deadline to February 28th?
We probably could. I think the issue is going to be there's a bunch of stuff that has to happen on the back end for us to be able to vet all of this stuff and get it to you. But we can look at that, yes.
I understand that, but I think because those are the advertising dates in a very specific publication, that would perhaps generate us with the most interest. I'd like to allow enough time for those folks to see it and then respond. It does take time to prepare their application.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I think this is very thorough.
That was the hope. And also to try to condense the conversation because you have a lot of things going on here.
Oh, yeah.
Fred, just for the sake of clarity for the board, the governance team, as well as audience members that may be out there, can you just go over and review the involvement of the district behind the scene as far as the search is concerned for the superintendent, as well as any staff members? So just to clarify what role or lack of role and involvement we will be playing in this process.
Well, we're going to, at this next meeting if we're going to meet in January on the 11th, we're going to be looking at the groups that you want us to make sure that we talk to. Typically, we talk to cabinet, we talk to classified, we talk to, union folks, leadership. We talk to a lot of people. You know, we had in both of the Antelope Valley and the Santa Maria Bonita, there were 53 different groups that we talked to. So there's a great opportunity. And there's going to be 3 of us on this thing. And because of elementary schools, each school probably is more like pod-like. And so it's an opportunity for us to spread out and be able to talk to more folks. But their opportunity is meeting with us and having that opportunity to do that. You need to realize that a lot of people choose to use a survey. It is so convenient to be able to do that. And the other part of it is if they meet with us and they forget something, they can go to and fill out the survey as well. So you're just going to get a whole lot of information and be more than enough opportunities for people to give input. Did I answer that sort of? Michelle, does that?
Yes, that does answer the question as far as the outreach to stakeholders in the district. As far as the involvement, the district, leadership associates will be taking charge of facilitating all of this, the questions, and working directly with the board. And that is not going to be something that the superintendent or any staff would be involved in, correct?
You can't see it right now, but I'm smiling.
I know. I'm just being clear with the audience.
Yeah, this is us working with, we get direction from all the different groups that you guys want us to talk to. Each district's different. You know, there could be a Rotary group that you want to specifically for us to meet. There could be a mayor you probably want us to meet. There's all sorts of folks. For an elementary district, I met with the community college president of the feeder district. So there's just a lot of opportunities, and there's opportunities to get input. But yes, in terms of what the staff's going to do, this survey is anonymous. You will post it on your website, so we need a little bit of technical support from you to put it on your website. All it comes to us. We don't identify anybody. They identify what their role is, and you can be a parent, you could be a mayor, and you could be a business person. and they check all those boxes. So it's not, nothing's going to glow in the dark. You will see, I believe it's always interesting when we do this because boards are so surprised about the feedback. Some of it is expected, some of it they didn't know. And so it's a great opportunity for the board to get that. The incoming superintendent will get this too, so they'll have an idea of areas that they need to be working on, but just to be aware. And the other part is, on a selfish, I'm sitting here today. I went through a board workshop, sat here, watched a board meeting, listened to a bunch of things. I'm learning a lot about the district. And when I talk to all these people, we start learning a lot about the district in different levels of it. And so that's the part of it. It's selfish for us. It helps us actually be able to help you be able to get more information. But in terms of what staff is doing, they're not doing anything except probably your assistant will have to help structure some things. And then coordinating, and we'll need it probably a little, we will need a little bit of technical support in terms of, if we're going to have three of us have 3 Zoom meetings that are going simultaneously on. But that's pretty common now. Everybody's gotten really good at Zoom nowadays. I wonder why that is, right? Are there any other questions?
I just want to say we appreciate your background and the work and experience you've had in this kind of endeavor, and we look forward to you guys working with us and helping us with this stage where we're at.
Well, we're really excited and honored to be considered. We will, we'll finalize the official timeline, but we already have. Can you give me the date again? Can you tell me what date you said?
February 28th. It's the following Monday.
Okay. I'm sure we can figure that one out. So the 28th, that'd probably be the only change, and we'll maybe start planning that way. What we'll do when the contract gets approved, we immediately put it on our website that this is there. And if we're kind of close to, if we're sort of close to a timeline, I can put that timeline on it, and it will go out to, I don't know, probably 1,000 different people. We advertise that this is open. And we'll have, the sad thing is we will have people starting to put their request application, but they don't even know what this district's looking for yet. But there's going to be an interest. I guarantee you. You'll have an interest.
Well, we look forward to it. We've got some difficult shoes to fill, so thank you for helping us with that. And any other questions from the board?
I just so appreciate the fact that you just recently completed the high school superintendent search, because certainly there's a lot of crossover information that you learned about our community through that process.
Oh yeah, it was really interesting. We had a number of parents that thought their superintendent was leaving on the elementary, and they were kind of confused. It was the high school or what it was, and so we had to walk them back to say, no, that's not what's going on. So anyway, okay, well, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, next we have addressing the board, comments from PTA.
I know we have a PTA person here. Or any comments this evening?
Okay.
I'm going to ask you, just so that the board members can clearly hear you, if you wouldn't mind stepping to the podium, please. Thank you.
I'm trying to say I'm short. Hi, guys. Thank you. Dr. Bowers, you know me for years. This is sad news. I'm like trying to keep the chairs back. But speaking of PTA, we're sort of struggling a little bit because we want to do more, but we're not able to. But we are wondering if there's things that we can do as far as like not having necessary families come on campus or anything like that, but doing things, for example, like a book fair over at Barnes & Noble. That's not even on campus, not even close. But that way we can generate some money. I had to turn down Scholastics because they went through a lot through this recession. They literally scaled down, got rid of their warehouses. They're out of Missouri now, and they ship only tabletops. So we can't do that because that's, COVID contact and all that good stuff. But we need to generate money so we can do the things. And it's nice having the kids on campus because they miss each other. And, they're elbowing and they're playing, but they need more. So I just asked the board if you guys can, let's think outside the box. Think of what we can do so we can generate, more festive, things. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I know if you have those restaurant fundraisers, you could send us the information too, because we go out to eat too. We can help you fundraise for whatever PTA. If you hear any PTAs, just let us know.
Definitely. More the merrier.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think what we all agree is that if you get us the information, and I hate to ask you, but if you coordinate with the other PTAs from the other schools
Okay.
or PTOs, I know there's PTOs at New Vista and Jack Northrop, I think. We would be more than willing to help.
Oh, I appreciate that. As a family and community ambassador, we are a family and community ambassador, but we're also involved with PTA, and we know everybody if we're not, part of PTA. So definitely, that'll be easy. We're having a meeting on Thursday, so I will touch base with all the ambassadors. Spread the word.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So maybe after the first of the year, let me know your meeting schedule and we can brainstorm some ideas for different types of things.
Yes. I love
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Thank
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. And next we have comments from CSEA.
We do not have any requests to speak or for comments this evening.
Comments from TAL.
I do have one comment on behalf of Gina Whipple, TAL President, and her comment reads as follows. As we near the much anticipated and deserved holiday break, I want to wish you all a happy and healthy holiday season. Thank you. That completes her comment.
Great. And any comments from the audience?
We do have a comment speaker card request, but unfortunately, I believe she had to leave. The request was from Laura Giles, and there was no comment attached, but I do believe I saw her leave a little bit earlier. So not this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great. Next we have student discipline, approval of expulsion.
So this is a voting item. We will need a motion and a second to pass this item, and it is a recommendation for the Board of Trustees to approve the expulsion of student number 710-27251.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Keith Giles, second by Diane Grooms. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, next individual action item, Superintendent. Number A, adoption of resolution 2021-22, board member compensation for missed meetings for Sandra Price. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Diane Grooms. Second.
Second.
Second by Keith Giles. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next, approval of attorney-client fee contract with France Law Group. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dwayne Wynn, second by Diane.
I'm sorry, I thought the move was by Mr. Giles.
Keith Giles.
Yes.
Thank you.
Second by Mrs. Grooms.
Ms. Grooms.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Is this pertaining to board? France Law
This-
Group?
This is the class action suit that was discussed
Yes.
in relation to the opioid? Thank you.
Okay, any discussion or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Approval of agreement with Leadership Associates. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Diane Grooms.
Second.
Second, Dwayne Wynn. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations. Okay, next, that brings us to individual action items business. 16A, adoption of resolution 2021-22, annual accounting of developer fees for 2020-2021 fiscal year and fund number 25. Do we have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Wynn, second by Mr. Giles. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Number 17, individual action items, educational services. A, approval to adopt the Educator Effectiveness Block Grant and Expenditure Plan. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Grooms. Second by Mr. Wynn. Any just further discussion or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations. And next we have number 18, individual action items, human resources. A, approval of coordinator of curriculum instruction and assessment.
Tara Goins.
And do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Giles, second by Mr. Wynn. Any discussion or comments?
Yes, it's my distinct pleasure to bring to the board a recommendation that Tara Goins be appointed the first coordinator of CIA in the Lancaster School District. As you know, Tara currently serves as the coordinator of early childhood education, a position she's held for exactly 2 years. And prior to that, Tara has served as a teacher in Palmdale, Keppel, and Lancaster, and she has served as a district instructional coach in our district, with emphasis in MTSS, EL, science, next generation science standards, as well as math. During the past 2 years as a coordinator of ECE, she's done a lot of early childhood education, and obviously a big portion of this position is to facilitate our early literacy grant. And so she comes well prepared, and we're excited to see her hit the ground running.
Fantastic. So glad to bring her up for the approval of coordinator of curriculum and instruction and assessment. Do we all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations. Okay, next we have consent agenda items, superintendent. Items 19A to 19O. Do we have a motion?
Move.
Moved by Mr. Wynn, second by Mrs. Grooms. Any discussion or comments?
Yeah, I want to just make sure we do send out, I believe, I've always heard this, notes to the companies and to the people that make those donations to our schools.
We absolutely do. Every time we receive a donation, we acknowledge those.
That is great because we have some very good ones on this, especially when you hear about our increase in attendance. And I know it has a lot to do with our advertising. And I see that outdoor advertising gave us a donation. So, I mean, that's for attendance, but for the PPE and all the other equipment that is supplied, we need to really thank them for the service they're providing to our district.
Yeah, we definitely have some great donations there. Support our ongoing programs. Great to see that. Okay, with that, we'll bring it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. Okay. Next, we have consent agenda items, business items 20A to 20J. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
By Mr. Giles, second by Mr. Wynn. And any discussion or comments? Well, it's great to see the completion of the Parkview siding by Mr. Miller Masonry. Great to see those programs and projects getting completed.
And I can hear you.
Yeah.
So the audio visual here in this boardroom seems to be working. Thank you, Dr. Freeze.
I had a question about the lease agreement with Laco. What's the, can you give us an update on that?
Sure. Actually, I can have Dr. Freeze do that.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Roberts. We have an agreement with Laco for them to use two of the buildings here at Parkview, two of the classrooms, as a training center. When, and if you recall, this is about, this is before COVID, they used to conduct training classes for BEST, our new financial system. And school districts from all over the Antelope Valley sent their employees here to get that training. Well, then COVID hit, and they haven't conducted any of the trainings, but they still want to maintain access to the facilities with the hope to return at some point. What they asked to do was to adjust the charge that we charge LA County to reflect that the buildings aren't actually being used. And so what we've done is reduce the cost of the lease agreement to take out the cost of the custodian that would normally service those, because the custodian doesn't service them because they don't get used. And so that's really what this agreement reflects, is a reduction in that price. We thought that was only fair because the county's been great partners with us in using those two rooms.
Oh, okay, that explains it. And then if things improve, then they'll open those back up again.
We hope so. We really liked hosting those meetings, especially for our own people, because they just had to travel across the street rather than down to Downey.
Yeah.
We do hope they come back in short order and we can continue those trainings, because BEST is going to replace a number of our systems. And we certainly like being kind of the center of the BEST world when it comes to education about BEST.
Great. I'm glad we can keep our buildings available for that. That's excellent. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. And that brings us to item 21, consent agenda items, educational services, numbers 21A to 21M.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Grooms,
Second.
second by Keith Giles. Any questions or comments? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motions carry 4-0. And that brings us to consent agenda items, human resources, numbers 22A to 22F. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Keith Giles,
Second.
second by Mr. Nguyen. Any discussion?
Quite a word. Risk. Is that our leadership program?
We've actually had FRIS provide training. AALRR has provided training for the district for a number of years, and FRISC is a commonly used training platform to support administrators in supporting staff and maximizing their potential.
Thank you. I just go back to my early Catholic education, and so I'll leave it at that. And the second, the MOU with the Teachers Association. For those that may not know.
Yes, so we've reached an agreement with the Teachers Association that allows us to provide short-term and long-term independent study with a variety of different strategies, and provides compensation that we feel is equitable and fair for the work that is being provided.
Good.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And it's great to see that we're able to work out that agreement to help support our independent learning program. Okay, number 23, legislative and policy discussion. We have several readings there. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, a lot of items to update our board policies. And that brings us to the conclusion. Comments from the board. Let's start with Mr. Giles.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for a good meeting. We had a lot of good information. Wanted to thank Mr. Nguyen for his tenure as president. Appreciate his leadership during the interesting times that we've had, and appreciate him staying the course, and we appreciate him. And congratulations on Greg on being the next one. So I hope you do well and we can get some things done here. Thanks, Dr. Goins, for your report, and also want everybody. Thanks for all the information that we got for Sunnydale as well. I wanted to congratulate Mrs. Goins for her promotion, and we're looking forward to working her just as hard as Dr. Goins. I don't know if you guys saw it on Monday. We had a teacher that won on the Wheel of Fortune. Miller, Crystal Haskins, and she represented. Known her for a long time. She's a good teacher and apparently pretty good Wheel of Fortune player. She was the winner. So with that,
66,000.
Is that what it was?
I believe so.
So she did pretty good, but. I'm not much of a Wheel of Fortune watcher, but I did see that she was on there. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and everybody enjoyed their break. And I think that's thanks for Wendy Perry for the cookies that hopefully we'll see on the way out. And that's good enough. Thank you, guys. I'll save some for everybody else. Merry Christmas.
Great. Thank you, Keith. Next, Mrs. Grooms.
I just wanted to say it's very difficult to talk about the retirement of Dr. Bowers. And this publicly is the first time we've been able to say that. She didn't let us keep the secret very long. We had to, we really had to take time to reel from the shock, but understanding that a career does come to a close at certain points, and this is one of those chapters that is closing. So we've been very blessed to have you, and very grateful for having you here and improving our situation here as school, as employees, education parents, and the whole community. So thank you very much for that. We all just returned from the California School Board Association meeting down in San Diego. We are very blessed with a lot of the programs that we already have in operation that a lot of districts were talking about. Maybe we should do this. And that was very exciting. But I have to say that I went to a session at 9:00 on Saturday morning from the Parent Involvement and Engagement Program of Bakersfield School District. And it was by far the best session I've attended in all the years that I've been attending CSBA. It was powerful, replicable by us because we're already doing so many of the pieces of it, but there was just something very engaging. So I was thrilled to talk with a board member who started off as one of those angry parents. And she was very proud of that title because she was able to set it aside after working with the district over a series of years. And she's now on the board. And that's what I'd like to see here as well. She was great and very, very motivating. And I'd like to do some field trips up there really soon and duplicate that program. But it was just so close to what we have. So very close. Thank you, Dwayne, for a great year of service. I know it's tough to do it all by Zoom and making all of these decisions, and the health department making changes every 2.5 minutes. So I do appreciate the work on that. Congratulations to Tara Goins for her promotion. We're excellent. We're really glad to have her, and I'm fortunate enough also to have her as a neighbor. So that's great as well. And I think I'll leave. I think Keith covered the rest, so I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Diane. And Mr. Nguyen?
Oh, yes. Title IX representatives. You can do it. I know. It's a thankless job, isn't it? Yes, we understand that. The only thing I regret over this whole year of being the president was we were sitting at a get together in Sacramento, the 5 of us, at a CSBA conference, and the host gave us pens, and those pens lit up, and at least 3 or 4 or 5 people sitting at the table at our table started waving them. And it brought to mind that in the entire year was a board president, I never got to pass out pens to the students. And I'm telling you, that sticks in my mind. But the other things that do stay in my mind are the fantastic employees of this school district. Those of you that are still here at 7:30, 8:30, whatever. It's great to have you. It's important that we know as board members, all of you who put a lot of effort into this district. So thank you very much. Thank you to Wendy Perry for making cookies that Keith and I will at least take our share. And to all of the ACES awards that it's good that we have that capability to take a very important person from one school and move them to another school, and they just jump right in and do the job. So our thanks to you, Lexi, for getting the right people into the right positions and allowing us to do that. The Williams report looked very good. I only saw one thing that didn't seem to be addressed, and that was Desert View has the same issue that we just corrected. The broken tin on the overhangs at Sunnydale. So looks like we have one more, at least another project to do over there. Oh, two. Okay. But yeah, but the fact is our district jumps on those opportunities, and we do a good job. Red, you have a heck of a task ahead of you with replacing Michelle. That's so we have a lot of high expectations for you. And I'm just wondering just how many other saints are out there that you can interview, because she has really been a saint to this district, making it work so well. So with that, I'll close. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Dwayne. Thank you for your great service for this year. Led us in a fantastic way and kept our district moving in a positive direction, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hard work behind that. And Michelle, thank you. It's kind of a bittersweet meeting here. Thinking back when you first started and look at the district and how much we've grown. And I mean, just look at our board meeting. I mean, just a testament to all the things that you did. You took people's ideas and you helped motivate them, and you brought your own ideas and you motivated people to put them in, and you involved the board and the community and the parents and the kids. And we thank you with all our heart. Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's going to be very tough to find someone to continue. Yeah,
that's right.
But thank you so much. It was a great, packed board meeting. A lot of materials. Thank you for the great presentations and everyone. Look forward to a great holiday season, and we wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So thank you so much. And with that, we're going to move on to Michelle.
I am going to be brief so that I don't get too emotional. But I do want to say thank you to everyone for the presentations tonight. Well done. And just on a personal note, want to say thank you to the board for all of your support. It has been a beautiful 10-year journey as superintendent, and prior to that as assistant superintendent and deputy superintendent for 6 years. So my time, this is truly a place of that will have a special place in my heart, a place of joy for me. Hard work, but it is the right work for me, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. So I am truly blessed and privileged to have had this opportunity to work with each and every one of you, many of you for quite a few years, if not all of the 10 years. But so we have traveled a lot of this journey together. And a special thank you to all of the staff as well, because I've had an opportunity to work with so many of you for an equal amount of time, and I will haunt you forever. But I truly appreciate the opportunity and know that we have a powerful team here that's committed and dedicated to our students and our community. And that includes the folks here in the room, but so many folks that are out at home and in the audience, people that have a role in everything that we do. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I wish everyone a wonderful, safe, and happy holiday season. Congratulations to Mr. Teepee for taking the reign as president. And Mr. Nguyen, thank you for a wonderfully successful year. It was a different year as president, but you did it very well. And thank you very much. Thanks for all the holiday treats. I got to do some walking because I don't want to not eat any of them. So I'm going to eat everything that was put in front of me. And just a reminder that we will have a special board meeting on the 11th with a regular meeting scheduled the following week on the 18th. So just mark your calendars. And with that, I am going to turn it back over to Mr. TP. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bowers. And that brings us to 8:31 for adjournment time. Do we have a motion? Moved by Diane Grooms. Second by Mr. Nguyen. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. That concludes our meeting.